Now on 4, the meteorological gives way to the magical as we exchange mist for mystification with a new series, The Mind of David Berglas.
If I were to ask if you believed in legends, you'd probably say no, of course you didn't. After all, the only legends we know are Celtic or medieval, or based on local folklore. Yet we've all been told by friends of strange stories and events that have definitely happened to their friends and acquaintances. Like the discovery in a big department store of a live snake in a Persian carpet. Cars that run 1,000 miles on a single tank of petrol. Alligators in the sewers and ghost hitchhikers. And then there are those stories of flying saucers and people who can bend metal using only the power of their mind. Specialists in folklore call all these stories urban legends. Stories with little or no basis in fact, but they're told so often that they become what we believe is the truth. Tonight, we will explore some of these legends, but remember, for the next 45 minutes, nothing is impossible. Two house guests tonight also have very strong connections with relatively modern-day legend, the vampire. She has starred in movies as both villain and vampire, and he is a man who changed the bad name of Dracula into a great name for the box office. She has also written novels, was a member of the Spanish National Theatre, and has been a writer of the classical Doctor Who television series. And he, according to Halliwell's Filmgoer's Companion, seems to have made more films than any other living actor. One of the British cinema's greatest international stars. Welcome Ingrid Pitt and Christopher Lee. Sorry, I had to leave the table for a moment.
That's all right, darling.
I was worried about that statement, you know, of Leslie Halliwell.
Yes.
I just hope that John Carradine isn't listening to this program.
Well, we
because
don't
he tells me he's made
seriously.
400 films.
But you see, it's the quality that counts, not the quantity, right?
Of course, yes, absolutely.
Yes. Do you know how many films you've made?
Well, I'm told by the people who
By Leslie
check
Halliwell.
these things. No, not in this particular instance. I'm told it's now about 162.
That's right. I actually tried to count them up when we looked it up. And not only that, but I've averaged it out, and I won't say how many years you've been filming, but you've made something like 4 films a year for every year that you've been working.
That's about right,
That's
yes.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
My God, he must be rich.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
oh, yes.
That's one of the
All
reasons.
this belongs to me, really.
Yeah.
Your bank manager doesn't shout at you.
One of the reasons I invited him, you see. I'm going to talk about some loans in a minute.
Of course,
no.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, what I do want to
Backing.
talk about is something called telekinesis, which is actually meant to be the power of the mind to move inanimate objects. Now, I'm not sure if that's ever been established, but I brought along a few little metal bars. Let's tip these out, see if I can find a few. There we go. And if you watch closely, we will try and get these to move. Watch that now. Now. You have to watch very closely because it takes a while. Nothing happens. There we go. Now, you have to help me a little bit.
Oop.
Did something move there?
Yes.
That one did.
Ah,
Yes.
well, okay. Would you sort of just wave your hand towards it a little bit? A little higher, so that's good. That's fine.
Oop.
You did
I
it.
can do it. I'm magnetic. Look, 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 look,
Yeah,
look.
this one's moving.
Come on, you little
This
one.
one moved too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and
look
the
at that.
other
You've
one.
got- and the other one moved.
I'm a
as well.
witch. I'm a witch. I can do it.
Which are you?
Oh!
Fantastic. You are very strong.
Oh, yes.
That is amazing. You say you're a witch?
Yes, absolutely.
So have you done this kind of thing before?
Only to my husband. I can make him fly out of bed.
Can you? But every morning.
Yes.
Let me see if I can actually demonstrate to you that we can do something like that. Now that is only when you know what
That's
you're doing.
incredible.
Absolutely.
How fantastic. Oh. It's not got a string on it.
No, otherwise you would see something. I mean,
How
you couldn't be
incredible.
closer than that, could you?
Can I do that?
I don't know. No? Try again. Just put your hand over it like that. My goodness, you are doing it. Look at that. Put your hand underneath, the other hand underneath. Put
I
this
wish my
underneath.
tone could see this.
I'm sure you will be able to. Now, look at that. Now, that is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And I'm not joking, because I don't think many people can do that sort of thing. Fantastic. Well done. That's incredible. That really is something. Well done. I've had lots of people try that, because when you do these things, very often, even the glass is moving now.
Everything's moving.
yeah,
Women's Lib are very proud of you after
everything's
this.
No, this is a slightly thinner one, and normally we try with the thinnest, like a needle, and get people to do it with a needle, but you did that incredibly well with a heavy one like that. So if you'd like to keep that as a souvenir,
Oh, yes. Thank you.
just promise me one thing.
Anything.
I'll take you up on that another time. At this moment, promise me you'll never try it on your own, because you may be disappointed.
Oh, all right then.
Sorry about
Could
that.
I learn to bend this, maybe?
Well, you can learn to bend it, but it will take a long time.
You'll teach me later.
Take at least half an hour.
Okay.
I'd like to just take the theme a little further than me. People get very suspicious, and you can't blame them. But you brought along a cube which I gave you earlier today,
Yeah.
and you've had a good look at it.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and you've had a good look at that too.
Yep.
Now, that cube is just a cube made out of plastic. It's fairly heavy, but the idea now is for me to try and seal it into a container, which I have over here. Right. Now that's sealed. That's a solid lid there and a solid lid there, and there are no holes anywhere.
Yeah.
And this is the interesting part. If I put it here, can you turn around? See
Yes.
it? Completely isolated, I will try and make that move.
Oh, you can't do that.
I know it seems impossible, but I tell you, it's not quite the same, because the hand won't come into this, nor the mind. What I do is I've got a rather interesting piece of electronics equipment here, which I'll just switch on, and this one as well. Now, I must tell you, you can see this much better when the lights are down, so let me just switch the lights down a bit. And if you watch closely, as I manipulate these, first of all, you get some rather pretty patterns happening. Can you see that?
Yes.
And these are amazing things. They're called light sculptures. And by holding the two and putting the cube in between, about there, I should be able to get it to do something. Now, let me see if I can get it to rise a little bit.
Oh, my God.
Now that's fully charged now, and the incredible thing is, because what people always think there might be something built into my desk, is that we can actually try this now ourselves. I'm going to put this on the table in front of you, and as you can see, there's, of course, no connection. At the moment, it's still staying up there. I'd like you to take your hand in a moment and keep your hand there and just move it up and down a bit like that. When you do that, just don't worry about anything. Just do that. Now, I have to tell you, it's not going to work that way, but I'm going to ask you to do something I wanted to do for a long time. May I hold your hand for a moment?
Oh, darling, do
But
it.
unfortunately, the other hand has to go to Christopher.
What am I supposed to be doing?
I shall have to get
Stand up for one moment, please. Right. Now, hold, can you manage? Hold Christopher's hand there. Christopher, don't actually touch the
No,
tube.
I'm not touching.
Remember, it is not attached to anything. It is standing on the table. It is there. And watch what happens when I touch the light sculpture, passing right through Ingrid, right to Christopher. Raise your hand a little bit, and a little bit more.
Oh, isn't it brilliant? God.
And down again, Christopher.
I wish I could do that with my salary.
I have a feeling you're not taking this seriously. Stop there. All right. Now, if you'd like to hold this in your hand, a little lower so we can see it. All right. And once again, I will touch this, and I'll see if I can get it to come up again.
Oh, it won't work.
It does.
Look, I can do that too. No, he's doing it. Oh, David, you're
you're both
incredible.
And when I let go, it is still working because it's still fully charged at the moment, but then it will probably go down
No, I don't
as
want
you
it
relax.
to. No,
Well, will it to go up and it'll go
I
up?
want it to go up.
Well, try.
I like things always to go up. Up. Come on. More. Yes. Come on.
I think you ought to relax before we get too excited. Get it to go down.
Wonderful. Oh.
Why don't you come over and join me somewhere a little more comfortable over there? Would you do that? Come over. Christopher, perhaps you come and sit down there.
Yes,
And
certainly.
Ingrid, would you like to go over there first? Fine. Make yourself comfortable.
Yes, there's a piece of metal on the floor, I think.
Yes.
We're magnetizing it.
All right. Good. Now, what we were doing just now was something that, if you take it seriously, the scientists call telekinesis, moving things by mental power.
Incredible you are.
Not me, that was...
Oh, yes, you are.
No, but you have a kind of a... it's a sort of force that some people have, isn't it? It's like
I think everybody
plugging
has.
in an old-fashioned telephone exchange, you know, when you
Yeah. I think we
plug
all
that
have the
cord
force.
in, that this extraordinary force, call it whatever you like, comes through you, and it can be either good or bad.
Is
Well-
it concentration that does it?
Not really. It's, in my case, it's a little know-how, a little trickery, and a little thought control. It's a mixture of everything. I just want to tell you that we're going to talk about something very interesting in a moment, and one of the great modern legends concerned the powers of a young Israeli who apparently demonstrated to the scientists of the world that he could bend metal using only mental power. After just one major television appearance, Uri Geller became a modern legend, but can anyone do what he did? Join us after the break, and remember, if you know what you're doing, nothing is impossible. Puzzles always intrigue me. As you can see, the idea is to get that center ring off there. It certainly won't go that way, and it can't go the other way because it's linked on 3 or 4 different parts, and it won't go over that triangle. But when you know how to do these things, it looks so simple, doesn't it, when you can get them off. I actually left my house guest with some of these puzzles. I wonder how they're getting on. How are you getting on with them?
You
Well, I
know,
don't know
what you did just now reminded me that during the war, we were visited on my squadron by a man you'd certainly know the name, Jasper Maskelyne.
Oh, very well, yes.
One of the great, great conjurers. And he was out there for the specific reason of telling us how to get out of handcuffs if we were ever taken prisoner.
That's right.
I'm happy to tell you that I've never had the opportunity of trying to prove it or disprove it, but he did show us extraordinary things.
He was actually also famous for inventing camouflage paint.
Yes, that's right. He mentioned that too.
Incidentally, if you have trouble with these,
I can't
some are a bit complicated, some are easy.
Ah!
You've done it. Incredible.
Sorry.
What were you trying to do?
The easy way is to use a bit of magic. See, if you can't do that right, blow on it like that, and they come apart like that.
Oh dear, you like to know on these.
Yeah,
Would you like to do that again?
Comes off like that. It's simple. Tell me, have you by any chance got a coin or some coins? Because I want to show you a puzzle with a coin, which I think you'll enjoy.
A minute.
Have you got
Oh,
some?
he's always got money. Always. I remember, yes.
them on the table.
Carried my ear.
No, you didn't in Scotland.
No, that's
no.
true.
Just put them
yes.
on the table.
Oh, there we are. Okay.
There, I'll take the 10p there. Okay.
I planted
Interesting
these.
thing, we were talking about metal bending. If you apply it to any piece of metal, what you can actually do is to rub it to imagine that you get some heat in it. Some of it is to do with thought, and you actually use imagination, but other times it's a little more than imagination because it really does bend and become flexible. Now you can do that with any piece of metal, and if you watch, you will see that it is now beginning to bend quite a lot, even more, and it's getting like rubber, flexible and more flexible and even more, so that I can now put it under my finger and mold it around my finger, and we now have a bent coin. That's in the nicest sense of the word. You can see that it really has bent.
Look!
Oh, well, I don't want to look.
No.
I've been counting these.
He didn't take a pound. Don't worry, it's only 10p. Look at that.
Well,
Oh, I want to keep it. Can I keep it?
yes, of course. I'll tell you what, the traditional thing, of course, this was cutlery. Can you give me those spoons for a moment? The two...
Both of them?
Yes, the two coffee spoons, or see if I've got another coin. No, I don't need another coin. These spoons, we can do something quite incredible. I'd like you to really watch this closely. You're still amazed with the coin.
I
Just
can't
put it down
get
for a
over
moment.
it,
You can
Hans.
keep it as a souvenir. But with these spoons, you really can do some amazing things. If you watch, let me show you. If you apply heat, right?
Yes.
You can actually meld and fuse things together. Now, watch. The idea is to take the two spoons that you can see, all right, and try and meld them together with heat. Now, that doesn't always work, but I'm going to try literally a world's first, because so far we've always bent things. I'm now going to try and actually twist them. So watch closely, because once again I'm applying heat. And I'm trying to get the metal flexible, and once again get it to heat up and become softer and softer. So when I start doing this, I'm now twisting the two spoons together, and I think I hope you'll be amazed if it works, because I can feel it twisting in my hand. It's getting very hot, and as you can see, they really are getting twisted together, rather like those war puzzles that we looked at just a few minutes ago. And be careful, because they're fairly hot at this moment, and as you can see, they are now fused together like a wow puzzle. You look beautiful surprised. The nice thing is they come apart. Be careful, it is a little bit hot, but they do come apart rather nicely like that, you see.
How brilliant.
And they also will fit in together like that.
God.
And
That's the
there's
first-
the wasp. That's the first time that's ever been done anywhere, anytime. Have a look.
Oh, I'm honoured.
And that looks pretty too. Oh, you must.
Oh, yes.
He'll keep this.
Christopher, you told me something quite surprising just before we started here, that a few days ago you were actually with Geller.
Yes, I was, yes.
And you went to his home and he demonstrated some things to you. I've had a lot of interesting meetings with him. I must tell you, at one point, he had a rather large entourage around him, and so did I. And we met in a lobby of a well-known hotel in London, and everybody was waiting with bated breath, because I'd been doing various shows, sort of saying, well, I don't make claims, but I can do this. And he came up to me, and he grasped my hand in his two hands, and he said, David, I promise you I'm genuine. I don't use laser beams, buckles on my belt, chemicals, and all the things that he'd been accused of. And he rattled off about 10 things very quickly and left. And everybody was stunned with silence. And then they looked at me, waiting to see what I would say. And I said, funny, I don't use any of those things either. But neither he or I actually disclosed what we do use. But what was your experience?
Well, I had never met him. I was introduced to him by an American pianist, Byron Janis, very famous pianist. And he took me along and he said, you know who Uri Geller is? And I said, oh, yes, of course. I mean, like any member of the public would know. And so I went along and met him. He now lives here. And he had quite a few people there and talked to me, said, how are you? And so on and so forth. And then he did pick up a spoon. And he just said, you know, I do this sometimes, and just did this, and the spoon is bent, and he signed it, the date and the name, to Christopher. And as far as I was concerned, I thought this was miraculous.
Well,
I really did.
Regardless of what he uses, whether he's an excellent magician, in that case he's fantastic. If he's a metal bender by thought control, he's fantastic. Either way, it's fantastic because the whole world's talking about him. But you mustn't always believe everything you see.
No, of course not. But
No, but you can't dispute that this isn't even bent at the smallest point. I mean, I have seen maybe somebody bend something here. I mean, I can even do that to the cutlery I've got. If I really want to, and I'm mad enough, I can, you know.
Yeah.
But only at the small point. But here you did it at the thick
two together,
part.
That's right.
And the two together. Now,
Yeah, well, originally the things were with larger pieces of cutlery.
well, I was going to say, wasn't this originally done with a fork?
Yes.
It
was
was.
the first time in this
is it
country anyway.
important that it is a fork?
No, not at all. It could be any piece of cutlery. But you mentioned something quite interesting there, because you said that it was usually done with on the thinnest part there, right?
Oh, the weak, yeah, yes.
Yeah. Well, the point is that you can actually do it this way. Look, that's the thinnest part.
Yes.
All right. I will try and do it with the thicker part. You can talk amongst yourselves for a while because it'll take a while.
But
Well,
we don't
I
want
was
to distract your
No,
concentration.
this is nothing to do with concentration. This is a question of rubbing. I'd like to ask you, Ingrid, I bet some of the things you've seen me do you wish you thought of when you were writing some of the Doctor Who series, right? You understand you contributed a lot to the Doctor Who. What did you actually write about?
Well, I wrote Doctor Who and the Macros.
I see.
And I acted in quite a few of
Yes.
other Doctor Who episodes
I knew
and
that.
so forth.
It's a writing part that surprised me. I don't understand how you got into that. It's,
Because I never went to school.
you mean that's the kind of series it was? No, it wasn't. It's a highly successful series, also in the States.
Oh, yeah,
And
it's very much
absolutely
so.
amazing
Oh, yeah.
worldwide. But whilst we're doing this, and as you can see, I'm still rubbing, trying to get the heat, I'm really trying a second world first, because I'm trying to get it to bend at the thick part tonight, and that, believe me, is not so easy. But I'm beginning to feel it meld now, and it's getting quite weak and quite hot. And this is suitable for Doctor Who because they did impossible things, but that, of course, was props, and it was written. And now we're doing it for real. And I'm hoping that in a few moments I'll be able to surprise even you, because it has never been seen to bend at the thickest part. I'm trying to mold it round, and I think you can see that it's coming there now. Look, it's now beginning to fall just there. And it's bent, and believe it or not, I've managed to get the end to bend right over at right angles. And
Oh,
it is
my God.
it's solid again. You have a look at that.
That's 2/3.
How does he do it?
Now, is it possible? Is it possible to do this with a bigger object, let's say a steel rod or very, very long one? Or,
It's funny
or
you should ask me that.
metal?
I must tell you that's one of the best prompts I've ever had, because I did do a show where I tried to demonstrate it doesn't have to be coins, keys, or cutlery, that I actually did it with steel rods. Now, even better, it wasn't me. I got someone else to do it. If you'd like to see it, I have it set up on the laser disc. Have a look and I'll show you. Just let me get the remote. There we go, and we'll show this. Right, gentlemen. Would you like to just try? All right? No? Now, don't use your knees or your necks. No levers. You're cheating up there. Has anyone managed to bend it at all? Without using legs, feet, necks, or their neighbors? Seriously, anyone? Put your hand up if you have. Nobody, of course not. Okay, now I would like to ask a lady to come forward. Any lady volunteers? Just a lady. You don't have to be strong, weak, anything else. Anyone like to volunteer? You don't have to put your hands up. There's one there, one there. Would you like to come out? Fine. Oh, she changed her mind over there. All right. Thank you. Would you like to collect one of the bars? I would like to collect one of the bars. Thank you. All right. Now, did you try and bend it, or did he? He tried. Did you have any luck? No. Okay. What I'd like to do is just stand here for a moment. This way round. Okay? All right. Now, hold it like that. Okay? And don't put any strain on at all. Okay? All right. Not too heavy for you to hold it like that for a while? Okay. Well, now, let's see. You're getting stronger. And stronger. And stronger. Don't look at the bar, look at me. Look at my eyes. Keep looking at my eyes. Take a nice deep breath. The metal's getting weaker, and you're getting stronger. The metal's getting weaker, and you're getting stronger and stronger. You're getting stronger and stronger. Don't look away. You have tremendous power, and you have a tremendous power. Don't look away. Look at my eyes. You can manage, and you're very strong, and the bar's weak. Doesn't matter if it springs back. Don't worry. Keep looking in my eyes. Don't look away at all. All right, try and double it over if you can. Very good. Don't look away. Just look at my eyes all the time. That's very good. Just a little more. Excellent, excellent. You managed to start springing back now. All right, you can let go. You can let go. Look at me. Look what you've managed to do. Huh? You try and straighten it now. Huh? No, of course you can't. But a few strong men there. Ask one of the men who's tried one before to see if he can straighten it, all right? Give a big round of applause for them. Now, okay. Well, in a few months, I'd like you just to hand it around. But whilst he's doing that, could I ask for 6 gentlemen to come up now? Now, gentlemen, if you consider yourselves particularly strong, do come up, please. I'd like 6 gentlemen from anywhere. Come on forward to show you one more experiment. Come on, 6 gentlemen. Just can I stress, if you haven't volunteered before, not if you've volunteered before, either on this show or any other show. Thank you. 6 gentlemen, you can put the bars down on there. All right, very good. Okay, fine. We have 3. I need another 3. Come on, very quickly. There's one coming over there. There's one over there. Have you volunteered before today? No, you haven't. Very good. And one over there. And a big round of applause for all these gentlemen coming up there. Put the bar on the table at the back there. Just put it down. Okay, gentlemen, thank you. All right. Now, I was going to try and demonstrate something with a chain like this, and then I found out from some experts that this chain has a... Somebody wants to test that out? This chain has a breaking power of 1 ton, and that isn't enough with 6 gentlemen, I think. So I have an even heavier one. Gentlemen, this has a breaking power of 5 tons. There it is. Now, we're going to have a little bit of fun tonight because I'm going to have a tug of war. So I'd like you to take the ends, please. It's quite heavy. It's galvanized steel and very heavy. That's what they tow trucks with. You hold on to that, and you hold on to here. All right, fine. A little closer there. Hold on to it for a moment. Okay, would you come a little closer? Hold on to it there, and you hold on to it there, and you hold on to it there. All right? Now, as you know, that the weakest link of any chain, the weakest part of any chain is its weakest link. So gentlemen, just pull a little bit and see if it's strong. Is it strong? Of course it is, otherwise it would go somewhere. Now, would you like to just point to a link? Just point to one. That one there? Okay. This one? All right, fine. Let me put my hand over it like this. In fact, could I ask two of you to let go? If you'd let go, the last two and the last two there. Fine. And let's just drop it, sir. Fine. No, not you. You hold on to it. And you hold on to it with one hand, all right? The link you pointed to on the hand, I'm going to just ask you to hold it a little bit higher. And this is what happens. I will now try and get that link to actually open, the one that you pointed to. So, would you pull gently? Will you pull gently? Not too much yet, please. Pull a little more. Stop. I forgot to put the fluence on. A little joke, not a good one, because I wasn't ready. And we'll just twist it around a little bit more like this, make it a little more comfortable for me. Around there. Okay, hold on to it tightly now. Okay, quite seriously now, would you pull gently? And I could feel it going, and it's opening. And it's opening. Now, don't pull any more, otherwise you pull it right open. And I think you might be able to see that really has pulled it open there. What I'd like you to do is to examine that chain, gentlemen. I'd like you to examine this chain, and any one of you examine this link. Go ahead, have a look at it, because it's just an ordinary link that's come apart. That's possible, see? Thank you. Thank you very much for your help. Thank you for your help. Gentlemen, thank you very much. You can just drop down the floor. So, there you are. In answer to you, steel rods, okay,
yes,
and a heavy
indeed.
chain. I've got a little souvenir for you, which I'd like you to keep, Ingrid. May I ask you not to open it for a moment? And Christopher, this is for you. Suitable colouring, I think. And if you'd like to join me, I'm going to show you something that will surprise certainly Christopher, because I've collected some of the things you actually used on some of your films. Now, yes, it's a big surprise. Come with me and I'll show it to you.
Put that down.
Ingrid, come and stand here, and Christopher, if you would. Underneath this mysterious cloth, we actually have some of the many things that Christopher has actually used on his films. Now, these are some of the originals.
Oh, look.
Yes.
Of course, this is a famous golden gun, which has a cigarette case, a lighter, and a pen, which you assembled. And there's a picture of you actually doing that.
Yes.
And this is the famous solar siphon that Scott of the Antarctic, the film that you made there, and many, many other things. And I'm sure you recognize all of them. But I'm going to ask you to think of one of them. Now, all you have to do is to look around and think of one, but don't tell me, okay? And whilst just doing that, because we were talking about Doctor Who, traveled backwards and forwards in time, I'm going to ask you to do something. A very simple little clock, not from a film. You just turn the hand there and there. Let me just open it up for you, so you can turn that like that, all right? There we go. You pull that out and turn it, and then you turn it to any time you like. Now, as you can see, the hands are turning. But would you do it in such a way that I can't see?
Okay.
To any time that you want to. Okay? And while she's doing that, I'll ask you to think of one of these. I will just ask you to collect your presents from over there.
Oh, yeah.
Would you bring Ingrid's over as well?
Sure.
Thanks very much. And you make sure I can't see it. Have you set it to a time? Are you sure I can't know?
I don't know how you could
Well,
know.
the way you're holding it, I could certainly not look at it, can I?
No, you cannot
All right.
look at it.
And you've brought the presents, Mayor. Just put Ingrid's in front of hers and put yours down there. And I will ask you now, have you thought of one of the objects?
Yes.
Okay. If I were to tell you that Ingrid can tell you the object you're thinking of, and you can tell Ingrid the time she's thinking of, that would be incredible, wouldn't it?
Oh, no, it's not possible.
Huh?
Oh, well, yeah, all right.
No,
yeah.
he can't know
What did you
what
say?
time I've set it.
You think it's impossible?
Yes.
Oh, can I change my mind?
Well, you've already thought of something? Yes?
Yes, but I mean,
They
I
obviously think it is impossible. Just to tell you, you thought of 5 o'clock. Because I didn't think he could do it. Open your present and keep it as a souvenir, and you can open your present too. You thought of 5, right? Did you? You can be honest, yes or no. It was 5. I'm always right. Huh? No. What's the matter? You look so worried. You don't have to help me. It doesn't matter if I'm wrong. These are experiments. What was it?
3.
3 o'clock?
Yes.
You mean I was 2 hours out?
Yes.
That's the first time that's ever happened to me. At least there was a round figure, no minutes.
No.
3, I thought it was 5.
3.
Yeah. Oh, well, never mind, I can't win them all, but I'll never forget that I was 2 hours out. Okay, take your present out, I'll tell you what it is. Take it out. Can you manage? Just lift it up like that, there we go. And you take it out, because inside there, this is a miniature light sculpture that we were playing with before. It says, The Mind of David Berglas, the title of the show, Times Television, Channel 4, and that is a miniature light sculpture. And it's engraved to you,
lovely.
right?
Oh, thank you.
But I am very upset that I was 2 hours out. Never mind. Would you like to see something? Because underneath, I have inscribed it personally to you. Would you like to read out everything that I have said? Can you read it out?
With best wishes to Ingrid Pitt, the 2-hour difference will always be in the mind of David Berglas.
That's right. The 2-hour difference, you see. Okay, would you like to open it?
Yeah.
What can we say? It was 2 hours.
Oh my
What, could I ask you the object that you wanted to change your mind to?
Yes.
Or what was the object you first thought of?
I can tell you now, can
Yes, yes.
That, the quizzing glass.
I see. Well, I'll tell you what, I made you change your mind. Oh, you don't think I did, but perhaps I did or not. Just read out the inscription on yours, because it's the same thing.
Oh, I see.
Take it out. And an inscription to you, Christopher, underneath. Would you read out what it says there?
The mind of David Berglas influenced the mind of Christopher Lee to change to the quizzing glass.
And that is inscribed. Fully inscribed. What would you like to see next week's show? Keep your souvenir. Keep your souvenirs. Come with me. I'll show you something interesting. Come with me.